The right mindset is everything, because in order to succeed and succeed at a high level, you have to weather the storm. You have to get through the tough times. And building a proper mindset, it basically boils down to three things. Number one, you got to stay consistent. You got to stay consistent through everything, the good and the bad. Sometimes you'll have good things happen and you'll want to coast a little bit. You can't do that. You have to have a routine that you stick to no matter what. It is non-negotiable. And this eliminates a lot of the challenges that so many of us face when we first get in business for ourselves, because everybody looks at it as being free and not having the obligation of going to a 9-to-5 job anymore. But there still are activities that you have to do on a regular basis, and you have to schedule them in. So consistency will help you get wherever you want to go. Consistency will remove all the questions that you have. You'll eventually get answers to those questions if you stay consistent. Consistency will eliminate all of the shortcomings when it comes to skills that you may not have right now. You'll get those skills if you stay consistent. And the confidence, you'll gain confidence as you stay consistent. Consistency will give you the confidence. Consistency and effort leads to stability of your emotions as well. After a while, you won't be tossed to and fro emotionally when things happen. You'll know that you have activities that need to get done that day, and you'll do what it takes to get them done. You'll check them off your list and get them done, and then all those efforts will compound over time to bring you the results that you want and give you everything that you desire. So consistency is the main thing in your mindset. You've got to put in the work. You've got to put the reps in. And you got to do it when you don't see any results. It seems like there's nothing happening, but it's all happening in you. You are changing. You're becoming that person who deserves what it means to be successful and wealthy. You deserve it because you put the work in. And you got to put enough work in to where those results start to compound on themselves, and success is undeniable. However, it's in that valley where you don't see any results that most people quit and they give up. But you can't. You got to forge on. You got to continue to stay consistent no matter what. Consistency over time will change you. It will shape and mold you into another person. And that's the other thing about business. You'll never outgrow your self-image. And when I talk about being that person who deserves that success, you'll know that you've put in the work. So when the good things start to come, you will look at them as, hey, I expect it to be this way. I am that person who is doing the work that yields the rewards that I am getting now. So you have to put in the work in order to get to that point. And the work is dictated by you. You schedule that out so that every single day you are getting it done. You are checking off the things on your list, and you're being sure that you do it to the best of your ability and that you are improving on a daily basis. That's what gets you where you want to go. That is the only way to get there, honestly, from quitting a job and starting your own business, because so much of what you face, it'll be brand new to you. And if you're in the middle of doing it right now, you're discovering that there's nobody really there pushing you on. There's nobody cheering you on. There's none of that. It's just you and the task at hand that you have to get done. Which brings me to another point. Motivation is very overrated. A lot of times you'll have to do what you do even when you don't feel motivated to do it. You'll have to put that work in on just discipline. And if you are consistent over a period of time, you'll develop the discipline to stay consistent. It'll come to the point that you don't want to miss days. You don't want to You don't want to break your streak. You have a streak of getting things done every single day, whether it be writing an email, doing videos on a weekly basis, or writing ads, things like that to get your business up and running. You'll get to the point that you don't want to break those streaks. You want to have those streaks, that continuity, that consistency going all the time. And when you get to that point, that's when you arrive at a disciplined state. So you want to be consistent. You want to be disciplined until you are consistent, and then your consistency will drive your discipline. It isn't motivation. People get it all twisted and all mixed up. Motivation is fleeting. You'll have it for a while, and then after a while it's gone. Nobody's really motivated to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go and type out an article for their business, but they're disciplined to do it, and they'll do it because they're disciplined and they've been doing it every day over the past 3, 4, 5, 6 months. That discipline will drive you to do so much of what you need to get done, but it keeps you consistent, and consistency feeds the discipline. So you got to look at it like that. You want to build discipline over time, you want to build consistency daily, and then you want to have discipline to get the things done and to say no to people and anything else, any type of distractions that's gonna knock you out of your rhythm of getting things done on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. You wanna fight that always, but after a while you won't have to fight it. It'll just be automatic. You will not let things throw you off or get you off course. So in the beginning, it's like a rocket ship trying to leave the Earth's atmosphere. You have to do things a little bit different, kind of unorthodox to you. It won't feel natural to you, but just know, if you could get the work done today, tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day after that, string together a week, and then string together 2 weeks, then 3 weeks, then 4 weeks, then 5 weeks, then 6 months, and then a year. And that's another thing that's not completely true, and that is this: it takes 21 days to make a habit. It's quite longer than 21 days. I remember when I first started working out, it took longer than 21 days. It's like after 21 days, I felt like, okay, I got a few things arranged the way they need to be arranged so that I can get to the gym every day, but I still wasn't completely there. I had to continue to fight and fight and fight. I think it took maybe almost 6 months before it was a way of life for me, to where I couldn't miss a day at the gym for nothing. I had to go every single day. And business is so much like it. It parallels it the same way. The activities that you have to take, you got to fight tooth and nail in the beginning to develop the habits and to keep those habits consistent, so that you're doing what it takes every single day, no matter what. Even if you don't see anything coming from your actions, you just got to know that the discipline to stay consistent, that is the goal, and I'm hitting that goal every single day. So number 2 is you gotta learn, you gotta adjust, and then you gotta grow. You gotta learn, you gotta adjust, and then you gotta grow. You got to change the way you're doing things in the beginning to get to where you want to go. Because if you were that person, you would already be experiencing the success already. The biggest thing in your journey, your entrepreneurial journey, that you got to embrace is change. You got to embrace change, and you got to grow. But the thing about going back to the first step, which is consistency, you can be consistent and then you're not really growing, and you're doing the same thing over and over again, and you may not be getting results because you aren't really growing. You aren't really making the adjustments. So that's why this step is so important. You have to learn from the mistakes that you make, and then you got to adjust, and then move according to those adjustments. You got to move according to the feedback that you got, and then approach things differently, and then that's where you start to grow. But that's where you need a coach, you need a mentor, you need somebody who has been there, done that, can teach you how to get where they're at in life. And that's where books come into effect. Also, reading can come into play. You need to be reading and then listening podcasts, watching videos like this one, things like that to adjust your approach to what you're doing and tweak things and get them better. You got to fall in love with the change. That's a part of the game that a lot of people get frustrated by, and they back off because they don't see any results. Again, I've done that. I put in the work before with business ventures, and I did the work. I was consistent, but I didn't change. I didn't adjust my approach. And I didn't always see the need for a mentor. And I didn't see the need for trying uh, new approaches and taking on new knowledge and taking on experience of other people to guide me with the work ethic that I had established. So I would end up looking over here at something else, or taking a little break, backing off for a little while, or down a whole nother road. And you don't want to do that because your time is precious. You want to be spending all your time getting better. So you need to focus on one thing, trying to get one result over time. You want to grow into that person who has a big business and a person who is financially independent. And you want to improve your self-image by doing the work and then listening to other people who've been where you want to be in life, who've already been there, and they can show you the way. So you want to listen to their stories, you want to listen to their advice, you want to uh, glean their knowledge, and you want to take their experience and make as much of their experience yours. You want to mix in what they've done with what you're doing to get better results and shrink the learning curve. You will also notice that it takes a lot less work to get the results that you want because experience will start to kick in, and it'll make everything a lot easier than it had been before in the past. Okay, the other thing you want to do is, after you're doing all of this work, you're staying consistent, you're growing, you're changing, you got to persist. You can't quit. That's the thing that a lot of people do. They'll get so close to where they want to be and they'll quit. Now, when it comes to quitting, you got to think in terms of, you may hit a roadblock. You may um, you may run into a challenge that you feels like you can't overcome that challenge. But what you need to do is maybe back up a few steps. Maybe just try to get a bird's eye view of the whole situation and figure out what it is that you're missing. And once you isolate that, maybe it's a tool, maybe you'll need some knowledge, maybe you just need to do things even more radically different than you thought you had to do them before in the past. You know, maybe you underestimated things. Maybe you underestimated how long it would take, or maybe you just underestimated how much money that it would take to invest in your business, or maybe you had just a rosy outlook on things or expectations, and they all have to be adjusted. It could be a minor tweak that you have to make, that you could bring that up with your coach or your mentor, or look for it in the form of a book or a course that helps you to bridge that gap that you have in your knowledge that it takes to get to that next step. But kind of change your gears and just start to seek whatever that answer is without stopping. And that's the other thing. You don't stop to go seek the answer. Keep doing what you're doing and be open to information that's going to increase your results and that are going to make you even better and more efficient. So be open to those ideas. And when you look at a YouTube video, or you watch a podcast or listen to a podcast, or read a book, read with the intention of getting an answer to a question that you have. Also, journaling helps. Be sure to uh, you're journaling about successes and failures, just to to just to have record of successes in the past, and milestones that you have accomplished along the way. You want to journal that. You want to record your wins so that you're able to go back and see concrete wins, concrete successes. Because when you're in the middle of the fight, sometimes you don't notice all of the changes that you've made, all of the success that you have achieved. You don't notice that. You only think about the failures that you faced. And that's something that's kind of natural. We have that. We're always looking for the bad anyway. But you need to be looking for the good, and you need to already have it recorded, the successes that you have achieved along the way. Look at those and they will give you inspiration to keep moving on. But you can't quit, and you can't slow down, and you can't stop. And you got to look at your business in a way that this is what I'm going to do to get where I want to go. So I don't have another option. I don't have the luxury of just quitting or going back to a job. That's a no-go, no-fly zone. That can't happen. You got to always think in those terms. I know when I left my job, I didn't burn any bridges. I could have went back after 6 months, and 6 months I was still financially okay. But after about 9 months to a year, financially it was a little bit tough on me. But I never really entertained going back to a job because I know it would crush my spirit. I knew that it would take a lot of the wind out of my sails, and it would also, in my mind, label me as a failure. So as long as I was trying, as long as I was in the game, as long as I was in the hunt, as long as I was striving to get better, as long as I was moving forward, I always told myself, you're winning. Just keep going. Don't stop. Keep the blinders on, full speed ahead. And that's the way you got to be. So don't even entertain quitting. Quitting is not an option. You'll find a way. Either you'll go over the obstacle, you'll go around the obstacle, or you'll bust right through it. So that's pretty much all I had to say. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll talk soon.